Alright, so this was yesterday's ride. Me, Dennis, and Frank on Frank's loop. Frank's. No, that's Dennis up front, Frank's behind me. We already did a couple laps. This is towards the end of our day, I would say. I believe we rode for maybe another 45 minutes after this. I'm narrating this for Mike Traceman because he always comments. No, he always tells me when I'm over at his house that he wants to hear me talking or whatnot, and that I should get a mic for my helmet. But I'm not a video blogger, and I don't really rant and talk while I'm riding, so the next best thing I figured was narrating. So I'm trying to give Dennis some lead so I can speed up. You'd be actually surprised how hard it is to actually try to pass on this track. This is a fast section that I like of the track. I bombed out the front forks on that every time because I need to redo the sills, the fork sills. This section, this downhill section, I had real fun going on. I stalled out a lot at the bottom. I had to start kicking into first gear, keep the bike running. This muddy section was always slick. It was hard to come into his turn with any speed because there's no really good lines. That's the part Frank was talking about when my back wheel kicked out when I hit that rock. I like this section right here too. Alright, so we're coming up to a tree that Dennis smacked. That one right there. He smacked it earlier, I believe, on our first loop. Alright, so Dennis starts to go the wrong way. And there goes Frank. Frank's on the KLX 400, which is a DRZ 400, a very heavy bike. Which, if he was on something lighter, I can only imagine how fast this guy would be. So, as you can tell, Frank knows the trails better than all of us. We all run off the course except for Frank. Frank's letting me pass here. So now I'm opening it up, but of course I don't really know the course as well, so I do overshoot a lot of turns. Hopefully summertime we'll be able to see and tell. Right now everything's like the same color, so it's kind of hard to tell where the trail's going, so I'm looking down a lot. I hate this camera view, how the camera's pointing down towards the ground. I hate when people post videos like this on YouTube. I don't know, I like to see the horizon in my video. That was a turn that we all missed a lot. So this section come up in here I actually like. It had a single track fill right here. Like I said, it was actually hard to pass somebody, especially Frank. Frank knows the smoothest line in here, so every time I was behind him, I tried to find a line behind him, around him, but it just turned out to be a rougher, slower line. Alright, so now you see me, I'm sitting on the bike, so I must be tired. I only sit when I'm tired, and I have to remind myself to stand up. I always missed that turn. I always shot into the wheels, had to come back onto the track. So last year I was riding in third gear, keeping it in third gear. Now I'm actually like shifting, kicking it down to second, even first to keep the bike from stalling out when I'm coming down a hill. I'll show you what I'm talking about later. But I'm trying to rev the bike out as much as I can, get as much power as I can out of it. I overshot that turn once. The Frank was mentioning. Okay, so now I'm about to come up that fast. This was real fun. Here's what I need, a new line right here. I'm going to wear that into a new line in that turn. Here goes the jump. Forks following out. Alright, here we go, coming for that hill. That downhill section that I was saying I like. Alright, here we go, right here. I guess because it was sketchy at first, but now I like it. Kick it down to first gear. Keep the bike going. I can't hear the bike as I'm narrating it. I'm just guessing. I was doing it. I was in first gear at the time. I should have been. Alright, here goes that second turn. Shoot this turn like I usually. Yeah, good shot. Because the section I was saying I like. Pretty good section. Alright, we're cruising. That rock, I can't really hit it to get good air off of it. There's always an awkward jump. I kicked it into neutral a couple times there for an accident, trying to kick it down to first and then turn. That cherry crashed me up a second. I thought about parking my bike up ahead and sitting in that chair to see how Scott and Frank. I had to see how Dennis and Frank would react if somebody sitting in a chair randomly. As they see me sitting down, that's the laziness kicking in. Sitting down, lazy. Right, there we go, standing up. Sitting down, being lazy. Always miss this turn up here. Let's see if we can get this one. Oh. Yeah, I guess we do. There's a bike kicking out on that again. Watching this video, this track seemed too easy, but I was worn out on 1 or 2 laps. This section I always miss. I'll be sitting down. So yeah, you can tell this is like that. This is at the very. This must be the very end of the ride, maybe. I'm not sure. Or maybe sitting down like that. That's one of those things I don't even realize I'm sitting down. As soon as I realize that, I stand up. Awesome loop though. see me pulling the clutch with 2 fingers. That's when you also can tell I'm tired. Or my hands are like cramped. The 2 fingers on the clutch, that's involuntary too. Usually, I always do 1 finger. But when I get tired, I find myself using 2 fingers. And then when I get real tired, I start to use the whole hand, like in the end of the hair scrambles. When I got like arm pump. When it gets real bad, I try to avoid using the clutch and the brake at all. When I'm real tired in the hair scrambles, I just pray that the bike doesn't stall on me, because at that point I don't even have the energy to even keep the bike up if it stall it out. It doesn't matter how nice of a rider you are, once you get tired, you just get sloppy.